Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count after 37.
Oh!
The ball gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the OiL Racing Xfinity Series Season 1, Race 10 from the Richmond Raceway. Boys, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for quite a show tonight. Short track racing on a Tuesday night for race number 10 of the 22 race season. Hi, everybody. I'm Alec Martinez, and alongside me, my producer and co-commentator here, Christian Hill. Christian, man, it's another week after last week's crazy race at Charlotte. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of the same here once again here at Richmond tonight.
Yeah, Charlotte went. It had all types of racing. It held up to all types of wrecks and here and there, and really really exciting stuff. And Richmond has. I think it's going to produce pretty good racing as well. It's a smaller track. It's only I think 0.75 miles. So it's gonna produce a different type of racing at least.
It is a short track, and as you said, 7.5 or 0.75 miles. You know what? We got that. Let's pull up the race info and track info here of the Richmond Raceway, built on October 12th, 1946. Might I point out, the second oldest track that NASCAR comes and races to, other than the Martinsville Race Speedway, but located out in the Commonwealth, as they say, in Richmond, Virginia. Only, like you said, 0.75 miles and 14-degree turns, 8 degrees on the front stretch, and a pretty flat back stretch. In Richmond Raceway, the big key to this racetrack is that track surface. It's worn out, and I believe it was since 1999 it has not been repaved. So I believe it's the second oldest track surface other than the Darling, or actually no, it is the oldest race track surface now currently on the Cup Series schedule, other than what was Auto Club Speedway in Atlanta, has changed recently to this racetrack. So tonight's, I would say, the big thing, and like we saw in the NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol this past weekend, is tires. Tires are going to be such a big thing, and there's only going to be so many sets of tires that these drivers are going to get. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye out here, and it even came down to it last week with how cautions fell. But tires can change the way positions do, so we're going to get into the points now. After last week, Michael Kostek had a great rebound, seemed to struggle a little bit on pace, got caught up in that first lap incident, was able to rebound to a 6th-place finish, and now he's got a 26-point lead over Andy Kurtz. Alex Penn, 3 points behind Kurtz. Then Iverson, last week's winner at Charlotte, tied there with Jim Ott in the 4. Then Brett Bieber, then Blake Hensley, Bobby Hall Jr., Lucas Lyons, and Daniel Cunningham, the top 10 in points. Then Kyle Mace, 11th with Matthew McMeekin, 12th Justin Ray, or I believe it's 12 going into the chase, and 8 different drivers, I believe, or excuse me, 6 different drivers have locked themselves in to the chase, or what will be the playoffs, in just a couple races. And we'll take a look at the schedule, as this is race number 10 and only a couple more races to go, including here tonight. Richmond, the stage going to be at lap 50, but man, lad, let me tell you, that's 3 totally different racetracks. You got a short track at Richmond, the road course at Watkins Glen next week, and then Daytona, the playoff cutoff race. That is going to be an exciting one as well. Really 3 totally different racetracks to test these drivers' skills, from short track to road course to super speedway.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole type of next 3 weeks. I mean, like you said, we got short track, and we got a road course, and these cars are they're different on the road courses, may I say. You have these big honking cars with, pretty big brakes, but again, these cars are really heavy and a lot of horsepower, so it's pretty hard to stop. And then we can move right into a super speedway, which, that's just foot to the floor. Yeah, just foot to the floor and 200-mile-an-hour chest.
It really is. And as qualifying still going on, the track guide here for tonight, as well as another topic, as we were talking about Richmond, one of those shorter tracks. And you look at this backstretch here, it's flat, and it's relatively flat, but you come off of turn 4. Turn 4, I think, is going to be the trouble spot here today. We talk about the power that these cars have, these Xfinity series cars have, with the, I believe, 700 or 650 horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower, a lot of torque going through the rear end of these cars. You're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding, although the weather here as well is a lot different than what we've seen the last few weeks. Last week was bright and sunny out at Charlotte. It was relatively hot up in the track temp in the upper 100s. Tonight, it's still sun. It's still out in the day. No threat of weather of rain, which again, iRacing implemented rain just a couple weeks ago. From what I could tell on the weather forecast, there is no threat of rain. There will not be a race to halfway on that first stage. But we look at the air temp. It's 66 degrees outside. That's not too hot. And then, and this is a live look now. Look at this fog that has developed over the racetrack. That's something we don't normally see here on Vspeed. And in the way the weather is, it's cool. It's foggy. The track is going to be a little bit grippy, especially going to be really grippy because it's cool. We don't really see Richmond can be one of those challenging tracks where you're sliding off the corners, you're loose in, you're loose center, and you're loose off, or tight center and a snappy loose off. This track is going to have a lot of grip, and I think that's going to be interesting to see how the racing. Will we see the track widen out? I'm not sure, but we are going to definitely see a lot different Richmond race, because it's going to be a very grippy surface. Even though the track is old, that lower track temp is really going to help with the grip, and honestly, I think that's going to put track position at a premium here tonight.
Yeah, everyone idolizes the old tracks, and with this being from 1999, it is over 24 years old, which is just absolutely incredible that this track surface is still the way it is, and they haven't changed it. I mean, a lot of tracks have had to update to newer surface, and no one really likes those newer surfaces. They don't feel that well. It takes quite a few years for them to really kind of get rubbered in, as well as just kind of older tracks they're not like soft. They don't have that oily feel. They really grip up well. But today's a cold day, so it's going to be interesting, especially right off the start.
Yes, it is. As finally we have gotten to the gridding here tonight for race number 10. And like you said, 150 laps. That's not a lot of laps for the lap times that these drivers are turning. Lucas Lyons puts it on the pole with a 21.696, and to his outside driver we didn't see last week, Jason Arson, going to be rolling off in the 44 machine to his outside. Then row number 2 has Daniel Cunningham, who caught up in an incident last week, but looking to rebound and have a successful evening. Jim Ott, race winner this season at Indianapolis, going to be rolling off in 4th. Andy Kurtz going to be rolling off in 5th, with Alex Penn, the Road America winner. Kurtz also a winner this season, 5th and 6th. 7th going to be Matt Grenier, rolling off in 7th in the 15 car. Blake Hensley, the guy who we thought was the fastest car last week, has said in his interview he wants to make these guys mad after a race and put a whooping on them. He'll be rolling off 8th, and the 42 of Cody Anderson will be rolling off 9th, with points leader Michael Kostek rolling off in the top 10.
Yeah, next we have Justin Ray's in the 38 car rolling off 11th. E12 is going to be Justin Bieber followed by his brother Travis Bieber in the 114 car, next to Drew Prohl in the 14th spot. Next, we have Tony Iverson, who has put a really good show on last week in the 24 in the P15 spot, followed by Craig Schroeder in 16th. In 17th, we have Tom Hall in the 93 car, and in 18th, we have Dustin Reinstedel. P19, we have Michael Cole, and followed by that, we have Bobby Hall Jr. in the P20.
And then in P21, it's going to be GT Hawkins, who started shotgun on the field last week and got himself a fourth place finish, and he's going to do it once again and hope to get 3 spots better as the pace car is going to roll off. And I believe it's going to be 1 pace lap. Pace car lights are going to be off, and we have this pace lap. Who are your eyes on to see who's going to win this race here tonight?
Oh, I mean, you have to pick. At first, my immediate thought is Tony Iverson. I mean, he did such a good job last week, but this is a different track. This is a short track, so maybe it's Jim Ott. Lucas Lyons did put it on pole, and he's done pretty well. I think I'm going to go with Jim Ott.
Okay, I like that. Short track success is something you always want to see and look at. And this year, we've had only 5 races, or I believe 2 races on what you would consider short tracks. So I think I'm going to go with the 8-car Michael Kostek getting a win. Actually, we do have 2 pace laps. So yeah, but I think you look at the short tracks this year, went to Worldwide Technology Raceway. Andy Kurtz won that one. Then he went to Iowa, a very, very similar racetrack to here. I think some would say the sister track to Richmond Raceway. That race was won by Michael Kostek, and I think Michael Kostek, personally, Iowa, if you can win at Iowa, you can most certainly win at Richmond. And I think Kostek, even though he's starting a little bit back, I think this is a race we look to see him at. And Iowa, another one of those tracks that has high tire wear, just like this racetrack, the sister track. I think we're gonna see Michael Kostek get in victory lane here.
Yeah, definitely. As the pace car is rounding, I believe this is turn 3 at the moment. Right before we head into turn 4, the pace car will pull off, and then it's all on Lucas Lyons.
It is the pace car going to pull off into pit lane. Race 10 of the Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series is green. Lyons takes off, and 150 laps of Richmond Raceway is underway. And off of turn number 4, going to get you an extra lap of quietness. And here are these V8 engines here as Lucas Lyons has pulled out to a 4/10 of a second lead here into turn number 1 over Daniel Cunningham. Behind him, it's going to be Andy Kurtz, then followed by the 44 of Erson, then Ott there in the 4 in the top 5 in that Auto Owners Chevrolet Camaro. And man, looks like Lucas Lyons starting to gap himself away from the field. But the question is, this long run on the fuel tank, you're probably going to want to pit for tires before you want to pit for fuel. Is he pushing it too hard? As we're seeing guys try to move around the racetrack, but everybody kind of glued down on that bottom lane there, hugging that yellow line.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, they've just gone single file pretty quickly. I mean, right off the start, they basically went single file. There wasn't too much battling. I think these guys know that they really need to save their tires. This is going to be a bit of a as you said earlier, a tire strategy race, and they're just trying to make this last and kind of they're just waiting for someone to make a mistake. Essentially, at this point, they have to go into the braking zones, and
yeah, right now it's looks like the 48 of Lyons continuing to pull away, but he's maintained about a half a second lead. And then Kurtz, and this really where the battle is, the 08 of Cunningham, then Kurtz, Arson. I hope I'm saying his name right. Here comes Giamott to the inside here in the 4. Going to dive it down low, going to ease by, and the 4 going to move up to P number 4. Ott has moved himself up another spot in the top 5, but I hope I'm saying, I think it's Arson. We'll have to pull him up maybe later. Erson. Okay, it is Erson. Good to good to know, and I appreciate you correcting me on that. And Harrison is falling back to the 5th position, and right behind him, Alex Penn, Matt Grenier, Blake Hensley, Michael Kostick, and Cody Anderson, the top 10 here. And so far, it's really single file guys going to be in a tire conservation mode. But I'm looking at this 5, and he gets into the 5. Andy Kurtz and Jim Ott go around. Ott going to get into the 5, and wow, what a save from Andy Kurtz, and the caution comes out early in the race, but heavy damage to the 5 of Andy Kurtz, and Jim Ott with damage as well.
Yeah, we're going to take
just going to mention.
Oh,
sorry to cut you off. The 5 was, or the 4 looked like he was really starting to push it, and as soon as he started, he just got into the 5.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick replay here and see kind of what happened there.
Yeah, it just looked like an overdrive of the corner. Sorry to cut you off there, but we're talking about the aggressiveness and guys trying to save tires here. It looks like Ott tried to go to the inside, and one of those classic Richmond deals just gets into the left rear of the 5 of Andy Kurtz and spins him out. Great save by the 5, but that's a lot of tire life out of the 5 cars, or the 5 car there. That's a lot of tire life going to be just extracted out of the right rear. And that was a heavy hit for Jim Ott in that right front. I think he even got hit in the left rear. I'm not sure who hit him. It might have been the 44 of Ayrson who got into him as well. So we'll see what happens here as the first caution of the evening comes out from the Richmond Raceway. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break and come back for the restart here in just a few moments. Sorry, I wanted to give you. All right, we're back double file here, or actually single file here. Still is need to get a couple things sorted, but we're all good as Lucas Lyons is the leader after just a couple laps of green flag racing. Nobody, even though they took damage, decided to pay Jim Ott at fault for the caution, so he will be dropping back to the rear here. And early aggression seeming to strike a few guys and cost them really early in this race. And honestly, only 150 laps in this race, Christian. It's not a lot of time to regain all those spots back. This is basically a sprint race.
Yeah, this is a very short race in terms of, general race standards, right? It is 150 laps, but it is only 112 miles. So not that long compared to some of these other races. But it is Richmond. Richmond is known for a bit more of aggressive driving, which may incur a little bit more cautions than we've already seen so far. So this could be interesting. You could technically start 16th and just work your way up through all these cautions, just making a couple of spots at a time until you get up to the front.
Yeah, we'll see as the pace car pulls off, and Lucas Lyons is the leader here, and we're back underway from the Richmond Raceway as Lyons leads the field into turn number 1, and then it's Cunningham followed by Ayrson, Penn, and Hensley. They're the top 5 as Penn looking to the outside of Ayrson as Penn almost clips the outside wall, and the battle for the podium spot here up and going early.
Lucas Lyons still leading, still having a pretty commanding lead, about half a second over Daniel Cunningham, and then only about a tenth to Jason Ayrson in third, and less than that to Alex Penn as they're fighting now currently for fourth.
Yeah, he is, and Penn looking to get that spot away from the 44, and Cunningham is kind of backed up to these guys a little bit as Lyons really setting the pace here right now, and he's pulled about 0.6 of a second as this battle still side by side as Ayrson drifts up the racetrack, almost gets into the side of Penn, but Penn pitching them down in the center of the corner and on the exit, it's really hurting the exit of the 44. And while you see guys try to pinch cars down there, it's because they can't get back into the gas early enough to kind of full throttle it off the corner, although you don't want to really full throttle it too much here. But it forces the guy on the bottom to get in the gas later than you can. As Penn finally going to clear the 44, and Alex Penn moves to third, but now sets his eyes on Daniel Cunningham as the 44 of Harrison falls back to fourth. And here comes the 31 of Blake Hensley closing up as well.
Jason Harrison and Alex Penn just kind of fighting out for that third position spot, but at the same time, they are using up their tires. By fighting that, you're just you're having to take those odd lines. You're not taking the ideal racing line. You're not taking kind of that gripped up, already kind of rubbered in line. So you're driving on that real rough course surface, and that's going to really tear up your tires and lower that tire wear. But if you're Alex Penn, you did get a position out of it.
He did, and now he can kind of start going back into tire conservation mode right now. But, man, Lucas Lyons can't give him enough credit. He's led every lap so far, but the pace that he has, almost a second ahead of Cunningham. The question is he pushing his... Oh, we got trouble down the backstretch. Craig Schroeder is around, and the caution is out for the second time here tonight.
Looks like Craig Schroeder, I don't know, kind of maybe got into... bit of an incident on his own. We're going to have to take a replay of that.
I'll take a look and see what happened to the 56 Toyota Supra of Craig Schroeder here, and it just seems like, heavy damage and probably race-ending damage for the 24. And in the pack, I believe that's the 33 of GT Hawkins, or excuse me, 24 of Tony Iverson gets into him. And a hard hit to the inside wall and probably busted radiator and night over, but heavy damage to the right front of last week's winner, Tony Iverson. Curious if we got an onboard on the 24 here, but yeah, gets up into the wall and right in front of, right into the path of Iverson. Really nowhere for him to go.
Right, yeah. He just kind of gets into him right there, and there's not much anywhere for him to go. He's just kind of there. You just drive into him. You don't really know what to do. You can't slam on your brakes, or else you're going to spin yourself out. Probably collect some people behind you. So that's just an unfortunate circumstance that happened right there.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for last week's winners. He has brought it into pit lane, and be interesting to see what a couple guys are doing. Ryan Settle brought it in. Bobby Hall Jr. in. Andy Kurtz also brought it down pit lane, probably getting damage fixed, as well as Tony Iverson going to come in and get that right front fixed. So unfortunate there for the 24 of last week's winner, and a couple of winners that have won this year just getting in a little bit of a early skirmish.
Yeah, it's good. It is only 150 laps. We're only 20 laps in. Tony Iverson, I don't think he's breaking a sweat. He had a similar issue last week, I believe. He started pretty far back in the field and just slowly made his way through. He just managed to drive up and then drive away with it, to be honest.
Yes, and while we're pacing, how about we pull up, let's see if we can pull up our second place runner, Daniel Cunningham. I can get him up here and see here. Daniel Cunningham, Alec Martinez, Christian Hill in the Vspeed booth. Got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, man, that 48 looks fast. I do got to ask you, we know tire wear is always a big thing here at Richmond. Are you conserving those tires, waiting for a long run?
Trying to. Lucas was working on that a lot. We were both trying to work on it in practice, and seemed like he was probably a little bit better at it than I was. So, we'll see what happens here.
From practice, I got to ask, did you do a long run? And if you did you notice any, or if the tire fall off was a lot because of, the way the track conditions are? It seems to be cooler than most Richmond races I've seen.
Yeah, we still had a pretty significant tire fall off. We did a full fuel run, and I think we had something like a second and a half or more fall off by the end of it. So not as much as I'm used to at Richmond, but still pretty steep.
It is. It's not Cup at Bristol tire fall off, but it is significant significance. So, well, we appreciate your time, Daniel. Good luck, and go get them.
Thanks, Alec.
I appreciate it. That's Daniel Cunningham running his second, also the winner of, I believe, race 8 at Nashville Super Speedway. Won that one in a thrilling fashion, getting by, I believe, made a pass with like 2 laps to go, and it was an exciting victory for him. And now he's got a chance here, running inside the top 3. The cleaner the air you're going to be up front, or the cleaner the air is when you're up front. And right now, especially with tire fall off, tire wear, being in that dirty air does hurt. your performance of your cars. It hurts the front tires more than it does the rears, but you can over push the rears trying to compensate for the aero tight that you get behind cars. As pace car lights are off, so the front row will be Lucas Lyons and Daniel Cunningham. Behind them, Alex Penn and Jason Ayerson into the Geico restart zone. Restart number 3 on the day. Green flag back out, and we're back underway from the Richmond Raceway. Lyons gets away good, and now it's a battle for second between Penn and Cunningham.
Now we got some too wide action. I think this is where the caution's really going to hopefully play out. I hope they don't go single file too soon as they're coming down the backstretch. But the 08 there of Daniel Cunningham falling right behind Alex Penn as Alex made a pretty hefty move on the restart there.
Good move there from the 30 car. The 30 car seems to have a little bit of speed here. And man, Alex Penn moved up to second, but then it's side by side between Hensley and Ayerson. Ayerson just gets loose off the corner. Hensley bobbles just a bit as well. 2 rows of side by side between these two battling for 4th, and then behind them for 6th between Michael Kostick, Grenier, and Bieber in the 32, and still side by side here for 4th. Is Hensley going to send it into the inside, and Ayerson not going to have an answer for it. Ayerson going to have to get back in line, but now Hensley looking to get by the 08 of Cunningham. Oh, Kostick almost gets it to the side of Ayerson, but now here comes Blake Hensley, the guy who we marked might have been the fastest car at Charlotte, but just didn't have the result to show for it. Looking for 3rd here, and these Toyota Supras starting to march their way up to the front. It looks like Hensley just going to clear Cunningham, although Cunningham fights back on the outside. Ooh, big wobble there from Hensley, but he'll get the spot into turn number 3.
This is the racing I was looking for. None of the single file stuff. I wanted side by side, kind of about to hit each other's bumper action all throughout the entire the entire lap here. This is what I wanted.
I agree. It's better than, no offense, I know you're an F1 guy, but it's better than instead of watching a DRS train, I'll tell you that. Oh, there's the bumper-to-bumper action between Cunningham and Hensley. A little contact, and now Ayerson going to get down to the inside. They all save it, but now Ayerson going to look to get on that position and capitalize on Cunningham, who seems to be dropping back a little bit as they check up behind them. 3 wide action. Here comes Anderson underneath Brett Bieber, and Grenier going to go way wide and lose 1 or 2 spots. Bobby Hall Jr. on fresher tires inside the top 10.
Grenier just plummeted like a rock. He got kind of stuck on the outside, didn't want to hit the wall, so he just had to slam on the brakes, and everyone just drove right around him.
He's going to have to stop the bleeding here and not fall outside the top 10 as he's battling side by side with Drew Prail is up ahead of them. Almost 3 wide action between Anderson. There is 3 wide action. Brett Bieber sends it way up the racetrack. Anderson almost gets into him, and here comes Bobby Hall Jr. on the inside of the 94 car. They're going to be 3 wide into turn 1. This is going to be for the 7th position. Bieber sends it up high. Anderson in the middle, and Bobby Hall backs out of it here as they're side by side now for 6th on the or for 7th, excuse me. As here comes Cody Anderson down to the inside of Brett Bieber, and Bobby Hall has 20 lap fresher tires than the cars ahead of him.
Bobby Hall did indeed pit, yeah. So you're gonna have those kind of 8 or 10 drivers that ended up going to pit on this last caution. They're gonna have newer tires, and definitely those tires are gonna make a difference. I mean, it's been it was lap 20.
Here he goes, Hall to the inside. It's going to be tight quarters racing
Wide.
here. Bieber going to have to back out. Hall gets 1, and now he's going to look for that 2-for-1 special and get another spot from Anderson, but he'll back out of it. And now switcheroo to the outside, going to try to cross him over, diamond the corner, get a run, and go down to the inside, and he will. Can Hall complete the pass here? This is going to be the battle for 7th on the racetrack, happening behind the points leader, Michael Kostick.
Yeah, Craig Schroeder, Tony Iverson, Andy Kurtz, Bobby Hall Jr., Dustin Breinstedel, Tom Hall, and Michael Cole all pit on lap 20/19 for new tires.
Yeah, they have. I think maybe Kurtz and Iverson might have just got some damage fixed because they were involved in a couple of those incidents. 27-second pit stop for Iverson and a 33-second pit stop for Kurtz. So far, these guys not moving up as much as you would think. I think they might have stayed out on older tires. I'll tell you what, though, a lot of pace from the 94, especially with the fresher tires. But I'm looking at GT Hawkins again, who came from the back again, like he did last week. He's got a really good long run pacer. He just gets by Brett Bieber in the 32, and GT Hawkins in that 33 car starting to move his way up through the field again. Already up inside the top 10, up in the 9th, and he's running down these guys ahead of him.
Yeah, his short form pace, not as good. You know, he kind of falls back on the restarts, you know, here and there. But definitely his long form pace, he can just save those tires, especially on a track like this where tires are really, really important. He could just save those tires and just kind of turn on autopilot, essentially.
The battle up ahead of him, Michael Kostek going to get by the 08 of Daniel Cunningham, and then a battle for second. Blake Hensley going to make it close. Quarters cut race in here between him and Alex Penn. Just almost got himself turned off of turn number 2, and Hensley showing really, really good pace. Fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. Hensley just seems like he's wrapping the bottom here, and we'll see here as we got like this drone cam here. He's not on it all the way in 1 and 2 because you can kind of be a little bit playful with what line you want to be, but in 3 and 4 you want to hook that bottom lane. And I look at the 31, he's just able to wrap that yellow line, and I think even Penn is able to do it as well, but Penn is starting to fall off just a little bit here, and Hensley has some really good pace as this run continues to go longer and longer. And man, Carter seems to have so much more rotation in the center of the corner, and he's not spinning the tires off, which is really, really helping his exits and being able to save tires here. And look at this, just able to wrap that bottom line here, man. That's going to be good to hear as later as this run goes on, as 40 laps going to go on these tires.
Blake Hensley kind of pushing himself onto almost an island. You know, you got Lucas Lyons 8/10, 9/10 out in front, but then you got Alex Penn about 6/10 out behind him. So he's just kind of sitting there on his own, just running his line. He doesn't have to worry about anyone's dirty air. He doesn't have to worry about anyone dive bombing him down the down the corners. So he's kind of, I guess I'd honestly, if I was Blake Hensley, I'd be happy.
Yeah, you got really no pressure from behind. You got a little bit of clean air, as you know, 8/10 of a gap in the Xfinity car is not bad. There's still a little dirty air, but not as bad as being tucked up right behind somebody like you see a couple spots behind them, like Michael Kostek tucked up behind the 44, Jason Ayerson, and the 8 car starting to show a little bit more pace. Was about a 10th faster than the 2 cars ahead of him. And Kostek's really starting to turn up the pressure here on the 44 car. And the top 2 are pulling away, but this battle from 3rd on back is really starting to heat up. And here comes Kostek, and look to the inside of Ayerson. Although Ayerson got a good run off, not going to be able to do, Kostek's not going to be able to have much of a say here.
Kostek kind of stuck in the middle of this whole gaggle of cars. You could essentially throw a blanket over top of. I mean, it's who is this? Jason Ayerson, Michael Kostek, Bobby Hall, and David Cunningham.
Yeah, Daniel Cunningham loses another spot. That 94 car with the fresher tires is going to get up to the 6th position, and Hall with some good pace here. If he can use these tires to his advantage, if we go really long here, might be able to, I guess, what can you say, stay out a little bit longer, have fresher tires for that second run if we go green all the way, but also even use these tires here as an advantage. Here comes Kostek to the inside of Jason Ayerson in the 44. Ayerson on the outside in that 44 car, black and white Chevrolet Camaro, and that all black with the red numbers there. That's Michael Kostek, the points leader, who has a decent gap over a couple of his competitors, and one of his close competitors, Jim Ott, out of the race, going to finish 21st, dead last in this field. So going to get a lot of points on him, although Ayerson really pinching that 8 car down, and here comes Hall as Ayerson gets the wall, and here comes Hall to the inside of Kostek. Kostek going to get the position away from Ayerson, but now Hall going to look to the inside of the 44 as well. And the 44 trying not to lose this much track position. Already lost 1 spot. He'll hold on to it. And now Hall going to try to go around in the long way and cross him over here off of turn 4. Or turn number 2, excuse me. There he comes. Hall to the inside, going to slide up the racetrack and use all the racetrack he can, and Bobby Hall goes up into the 5th position with a crossover here. Here comes Ayerson. He'll think better of it and back out of it. And Christian, man, these top 5 are starting to separate themselves away from this field.
Yeah, I mean, if these kind of P6, P7, P8, if they keep fighting like this, you're essentially you're fighting, but while you're fighting, you're pulling down, you're kind of slowing each other down. And so you're just letting P1, Lucas Lyons, Blake Hensley, Alex Penn, just kind of run away with it. Right now, there's a second gap between Alex Penn and Blake Hensley, and almost a second gap between Blake Hensley and Lucas Lyons.
And really, Lyons and Hensley are kind of trading lap times at the moment. Penn and Kostek are really starting to show. I think Penn starting to probably the one car that's struggling inside this top 5. Lost position to Hensley, and Hensley's pulled about a second on him. Lyons has pulled about 2 seconds on the 30, and now Michael Kostek's about to be breathing down his neck here pretty soon because that 8 car's got some pace. How about this? A third of the race going to be in the books, and can't forget as well the stage coming up, and there it is, the stage caution coming out here. Right. And yeah, one thing to kind of calm down a little bit is Lucas Lyons going to win the first stage. Blake Hensley going to come home second, followed by Penn, Kostek, Hall, Erson, Cunningham, Anderson, Hawkins, and Prail. The top 10 here at the end of stage number 1. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a bonus point there for Lucas Lyons, and everybody could kind of take a breath. I think that's when we saw a lot of guys kind of moving their way around, starting to use their tires. But man, it seems like that 48 car really has the field in check here.
Yeah, Lucas Lyons taking the win for the stage break there. So he does get extra points for that, if I'm not mistaken. And on top of that, I mean, they'll all come down for tires at the moment, as well as fuel. But the Lucas will he be able to keep that up again? I mean, yeah, he was able to drive away in that first stage, but will he be able to do it again in the second stage? Now that he's lost that gap, and will the drivers make the same mistakes and kind of battle each other?
We'll see, as it's all up to the pit crews now. Who's going to have the quicker stop here is Lucas Lyons, that pole sitter, and we point out has led every single lap of this race. And it's going to be a competition off of pit road between the 31, 38, and 48 crews here, as pit stops just finishing. Hensley with a great stop, and I think Lyons just going to cut it close. I'm not sure if he beat Hensley out of pit road. We'll see here as the field funneling out, and I believe Lucas Lyons wins the race off of pit road. So that streak of trying to do what do they call it in F1 when you get the pole and lead every lap? Is that a grand slam?
Yeah, it's getting all the points. Yeah, it's I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's getting the fastest lap, getting pole, and leading every lap, and I think winning the race as well. Yeah.
Well, I'll be pleased to know. I don't think he has the fastest lap, but we don't do that in the oval side.
That's true.
He does have pole, and he does have every lap led. I think that's impressive enough, especially in a NASCAR stock car vehicle. So far, the top 5 going to be Lyons, Hensley, Penn, Hall, Kostek, followed by Erson, Cunningham, Anderson, Hawkins, and Prail. So a little movement inside the top 10. But now I'm interested to see, we talk about guys that needed to recover, to rebound. Andy Kurtz, who's still getting damage fixed from that lap 7 incident. And even Tony Iverson, last week's winner at Charlotte, still trying to get gonna have to rebound here. He's got fresh tires now back on the lap that everybody's been on. So it's gonna be interesting to see who can rebound here. And like I said, we looked at tires, only 4 sets laying in the pits. So some guys have 3, and some might even be down to 2. So going to be interesting to see how they play out these final 100 laps. And really 100 laps is quite a sprint here, especially at Richmond, when we got only 22, 23-second laps at the worst.
Yeah, from now on we have 196 laps when the pace car goes off, 95, 94. We've already gone through 50 laps. That's not a lot of time. If I were, Andy Kurtz, Dustin Reinstedel, any of the Bieber brothers, that's not a lot of time to work your way up. But if you're GT Hawkins, Matt Grenier, Drew Prohl, I think you have quite a bit of time to kind of make your way up into P1. But if Lucas Lyons does anything like he did last stage, I don't know if you're going to get that P1.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard. Although Hensley, I think, will be a fight for him. It seemed like he had a little bit of pressure here. And what is that? Is that the sun peeking out? And you know what I'm noticing, too? The fog has kind of gone away.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at from our blimp cam. Yeah, it's definitely clearer. Before, this was a bit difficult to see these cars.
It was, and now it's really going to clear up, and we'll take a look at here, a quick look at the track temp as well as the pace car will pull off into pit lane. That track temp is still about the same here, and green flag back out in the air. Lyons gets away in the battle for second between Hensley and Penn. And then it's 2 rows of side by side because here comes Bobby Hall in the 94. Going to send it to the outside of Penn. Hensley holds on to second. Now battle for third between the 94 and the 30 as the 94 bobbles. Only 100 laps to go here, or actually a little bit less, 95, now 94 laps to go here from the Richmond Raceway. Basically a sprint. You're going to be really close on the fuel situation as Lucas Lyons has led every single one of the 57 laps that have been completed here tonight. And here comes Bobby Hall Jr. to the inside of Blake Hensley for second.
Blake Hensley and Bobby Hall Jr. just going right at it side by side. Bobby Hall Jr. going to be on the inside, losing a little bit of time, and I think as Blake Hensley is able to kind of keep it on the outside, keep that momentum up, and get around Bobby Hall Jr.
Yes, it has, and now it's just going to be a little bit closer. I think if you're Hensley, are you willing to let that track position go to save your tires? But also, you might lose sight of that 48 car, who just seems to be on another level here tonight.
Yeah, if I were Blake Hensley, that move right there on Bobby Hall needed to be done immediately because I do not want what happened last stage to happen again. I want to be able to keep with Lucas Lyons. I want to be able to kind of stick right on his bumper and not let him escape because me and the guy behind me are battling.
Yeah, and Harrison's starting to slowly but surely close up on the 94 of Hall, and then behind them it's Kostek and Penn battling here for the 5th position, but everybody so far all the way out until 11th place side or single file. And how about this? Brett Bieber, Drew Prail, then Matt Grenier battling, and Tony Iverson has finally cracked inside the top 10. Bieber going to get the position away from Prail, and Bieber up to 11th, and then Grenier going to go to the outside of Prail now as well. That is the battle for 12th on the racetrack. Behind them, Tom Hall, who we haven't spoke much about. Travis Bieber as well in 14th and 15th, and Kurtz, Justin Ray in the 37, Dustin Reinstedel as well in 18th, and how about Michael Cole as well? Currently 1 lap down, but still in this race there in the 67 Ford Mustang, just logging laps at the moment, hoping for a caution to get that lucky dog. Prohl, okay. All right, Prohl as well. Sorry, Drew Prohl in the 80 car. And how about this battle for third on the racetrack? Hall and Ayrson side by side as Hall uses the middle lane to kind of just pull away from the 44. But it makes you wonder, is he pushing these tires too hard? And if we go green, how do you want to split this final stage to kind of set it up here? Obviously, going long is probably the best way because you could be on the attack from the start of your run. But if you split the run in half, it makes you wonder, can you go hard for 50 laps without pushing your tires too much?
Yeah, I assume everyone came down for tires that lap. I don't think anyone actually stayed out. So everyone's on the same lap tires. So now it's just how long can you make these tires last? How hard are you going to fight people in front of you? How important are those points to you? And how far can you take those tires? If you're GT Hawkins, you have exceptional long run speed. So I think you might be sitting a little bit more comfy if this race goes long. But if we get a few more cautions, might get a little more difficult, especially that'll change up things because people kind of move around and come into the cautions. Yeah.
Oh, Hall going to give him the bumper there. Look at Hall going to try to move Blake Hensley. I don't think Hensley's one of those guys you want to really be poking around too much, because I think Hensley's one of those guys, if you mess with the bull, he might give you the horns. So Hall not wasting any time to get around him. Here he comes to the outside. Almost makes more contact with him. And Hall going to get to the outside of Hensley, and Hensley not willing to give it up right now, and makes you wonder, is Hensley going to let him go by to let Hall maybe go burn his tires off? And Hall going to barely clear Hensley into turn 1, and Hensley might lose another spot to the 44 of Ayrson. And I think Hensley's going to be hoping that these guys kind of go push their tires and try to go take the fight to Lucas Lyons, as Hensley's going to lose another spot to Ayrson and say, boys, I'll probably see you in the next 20 laps. How about this? Michael Kostek battling side by side with the 33 of GT Hawkins, as Hensley not willing to give up the spot to Jason Harrison, who's pinning that 44 on the bottom. Hawkins doing the same thing to the 8, just a couple cars back as well. And Hensley holds on to the position, but here comes the 44. He gets into him. Hensley gets doored at the racetrack by Harrison, and Harrison's still going to be on the inside of the 31. And now Hensley trying to take that spot away and cut in front of him. Now Hensley going to go to the inside. Here comes Harrison, going to try to go to the outside. Tries to cross him over, won't be able to do it. GT Hawkins going to just get by Michael Kostek into turn number 3. Kostek almost gets into him, but Hawkins moves up to 6th. And now Harrison going to try once again to mount a charge at the 31 of Blake Hensley. Still under pressure, and it looks like maybe those tires starting to fall off just a little bit, but I am noticing as the sun has come out, we're starting to see guys try to search around for grip, move around the racetrack a little bit more. Harrison using that middle lane, going to get to the inside of Hensley once again, almost into the left rear quarter panel of Hensley, but Hensley uses the middle lane to power off, and it makes you wonder, is he saving those tires?
Yeah, Blake Hensley, I think that's the smart thing to do. I don't know what Lucas Lyons is doing up front. I mean, he's kind of being tracked down right now by Bobby Hall Jr.
Hall's got a lot of pace.
Yeah, I didn't see how quickly he kind of jumped up on him there.
I love seeing these cars really move around the racetrack, and I'm starting to notice Harrison trying to follow as well, but Lucas Lyons hasn't been pressured all night, but here comes Bobby Hall Jr. in the 94 car. Man, what great push, what great pace he's got in there. He's pushing this car for all it's worth as Hensley under pressure from Harrison. Harrison feeds him a fender, and Hensley goes into the wall. Hensley got up into the wall, a little bit of contact from the 44, and I don't think Hensley was too happy with that. He's going to get to the inside once again. Maybe, I don't think he'll repay the favor. And I'll tell you what, the 33, GT Hawkins, really starting to put the pace on. He has ran all of these guys down. Great racing here from the Richmond Raceway as we're coming up on to halfway to start the halfway lap. Lucas Lyons has the lead, and then here comes Bobby Hall, who's kind of pressuring, but this battle for third is still raging on between Blake Hensley and Jason Harrison. Harrison up the racetrack a little bit. Hensley not willing to relinquish the spot yet, and Hensley has really lost touch with Lucas Lyons, the car he was second to and behind to by just a second. He's lost about 7/10 and losing more time because here comes Harrison to the inside. He spins Hensley around. Hensley saves it. What a save, and they make contact again. Harrison going to get really loose on the apron, saves it. 2 great saves from these drivers, but Hensley and Harrison make contact and lose a ton of time.
I don't even know what to say there. Wow.
Great saves from both the 44 and the 31, but a lot of tire life going to be extracted after that halfway slide and spin. I think we got to take a look at the replay to see what happened there. And it looks like aggressive racing. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Kyle Busch Dale Jr. 2008 style with the way the contact was. But man, what great saves from both Jason Harrison and the 31 of Blake Hensley. And I don't think Hensley's going to be too happy with the 44.
Yeah, let's take a quick replay. Look at that replay right there. Oh, I think we just missed it.
It's all good, but man, what great save from both of those drivers. They look like they were both going around. I'm surprised the caution didn't come out. So you can see Harrison gets to the inside, just kind of gets into the left rear of the 31 and spins him out.
Then he actually ends up catching him.
That's actually what saved him, yeah.
Yeah.
He spun him, but he saved him. What a great save from the 31. And then Harrison, man, holds on to it. A lot of wheel in it. Saves it. And, man, what great racing we've seen so far. This is the short track beating and banging we always are accustomed to seeing here when we get to Richmond Raceway. And just great racing here all night as, man, Harrison falling almost outside the top 10 as here comes Tony Iverson and Brett Bieber, the 24 and 32, trying to capitalize on a position. Up ahead of them, Michael Kostek trying to turn up the pace a little bit as Iverson gets by the 44 of Harrison, and Bieber now going to try to find a way around, but Penn falling back to the clutches of Kostek, who's also falling back to the clutches of Hawkins. And wow, great racing all around as the top two only separated by 3/10. Makes you wonder, is Lyons pushing that car a little bit harder since Bobby Hall has ran him down?
Yeah, Lucas Lyons, I would say Bobby Hawk definitely caught up to him pretty quickly, but now is already 7/10 back to Lucas Lyons. Bobby Hawk Jr. gave him kind of a run for his money there. Was right on his bumper, as we saw right up until I think that some of those incidents there with Jason Ayrton, number 44 car. But I don't, I don't know. Lucas Lyons has given I think Tony Iverson and GT Hawkins kind of a run for their money for their long run pace.
I think Bobby Hall's starting to fall off. He's starting to reap the benefit or the cost of pushing so hard. But now he's kind of giving Lucas Lyons a 2-second lead almost over Blake Hensley, and about now a second lead over Hall. And man, he's led every single lap here tonight. What a stout race car this number 40 has, and he's been driving the wheels off of it so far.
Wheels are absolutely driven off of this car. That's the correct wording there. Lucas Lyons is just kind of an absolute madman with this car right now, and at this track, I don't know if this is a specialty of his or he just had some kind of realization.
he might have had Wheaties for breakfast. Who knows? He's been
there
really
you go.
working right now. I mean, he is just pulling the pace away here from everybody. And look at how small those cars behind him are getting. And as we got this moment on lap 85, also want to point out that Vspeed has just reached 1,000 subscribers. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to all of you who watch and have supported our channel. A big milestone that was started just about 4 or 5 years ago by our founder, Adam Baker, which you can catch him live as well on Vspeed with BTDY racing coverage that is currently live for the Nashville Fairgrounds. And, well, Christian, you've been along on the journey as well, and we've all been on the journey, and we finally got to the Storybook 1,000 mark, and it's only up from here.
Yeah, your first comma on YouTube is definitely one of those big moments that you never forget. You have those normal ones that, normal 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, but I think your first comma is one of the real kind of moments you always remember.
It is, and we appreciate all of y'all that have stuck with us and have supported us from the beginning. And all of you that are new, we appreciate you supporting us, and hope you stick around to see what's coming from the Vspeed, from all the Vspeed channels and all the great racing series that are brought to you live from flag to flag coverage, week in and week out. And a big milestone here is lap 88 on the board here in this wonderful racing event we've seen here from the OiL iRacing, or the OiL Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series. Great racing all around, and the battle on the track starting to heat up a little bit more as Michael Kostek has ran down Alex Penn, and Penn starting to create a little bit of a train behind him. You could even say this is Penn Station with what he's creating. Haha, good pun. But yeah, man, he's really starting to back up this from honestly all the way from 5th all the way almost to 10th, has backed up everybody here. And look at the single file line of cars is really starting to back up everybody.
I don't know whether to be disappointed at that joke or proud about that joke.
I don't know. I don't know whether to feel that one. I feel like that was a pretty good one. I ain't gonna lie to you. But
I'm sitting here contemplating it as you were talking. I was like, I don't know how to feel about that joke right there. It was good, but also it was a dad joke.
It really was. I thought of that one on the spot. I'm kind of proud of that one. I ain't gonna lie to you, but yeah, Penn is really starting to hold up these guys behind them, and Kostek is really feeling the pressure from the 33 of Hawkins, and this is all happening 3.5 seconds behind the leader Lucas Lyons, who's just been in his own zip code here tonight. A 1.5 second lead over the 94 of Bobby Hall Jr. And man, these guys, they're gonna have to find something to beat this 48 car, because this guy's in another zip code over here.
1.6 seconds ahead of Bobby Hall Jr. It is no Tony Iverson at Charlotte. Yeah.
This might be even more impressive. I mean, nobody's been able to lead a lap other than the 48 car. This is just pure domination. This is I hate to bring it up again, but it's a Formula One style domination, Max Verstappen-esque, if you so will, where he's just led every lap and really hasn't even looked back or been challenged all day.
Yeah, he's just kind of driven away from it. I mean, Tony Iverson last week, he had to fight his way up through the field and then finally took it. But Lucas Lyons started on pole. He's taken every single lap since then.
He has Kostek almost caught the wall there off of turn 4, and Penn really just doesn't have the pace, but man, he's got a little. You can see the gap of the car in front of him. He's got a little bit cleaner air, so I think that's helping out the rotation of the car. But Kostek has been working on this pass for the last 15 laps. He's finally under him, but that angle into the corner he takes is just not good enough, and especially on the exit, he just gets pinned down and he can't really do anything. And Penn just inches ahead, but might have one more chance here as Kostek goes to the inside once again. Penn's going to pinch him here off of turn number 2, pin him on that yellow line, but the 30 car just continues to fall off and lose more pace, which is allowing the 8 to be able to almost complete this pass on the bottom.
The 8's really trying to pass on the bottom here, but that top line is pretty quick. I'd say this is almost like a Bristol kind of line where it's nearly impossible to pass on that bottom line unless you have basically brand new tires. Or the top line obviously messes something up, but it seems to be very, very difficult to pass on the bottom here.
It is, and Penn able to hold on to the position, and it makes you wonder with how much tires are falling off. Lucas Lyons doesn't have the fastest lap, but his fastest lap was a 21.9. They are turning 23.2, so about 1.2 seconds of fall off here so far. I mean, almost 22 flats, but you're looking here about 1.2 seconds of fall off here, and we're 45 laps into this race. Are we going to start seeing guys bring it to pit road and try to maybe cut this run in half? And how about this? Tony Iverson going to bring it down pit road.
Oh, there he is. He's coming down pit road. Tony Iverson, I think, was also in a weird pit strategy last week, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. I remember he pitted he short pitted everybody and was able to come out ahead, and he really never looked back, but was a couple seconds behind Lucas Lyons, the leader. And finally Penn, big moment on the front stretch, saves it, loses a spot to Kostek, and maybe another one to Hawkins. And that 30 car, that might be another car that needs to bring it down pit road. And I tell you what, with Iverson pitting, we'll see as he's just exiting pit road. Lyons is not going to lap him. He will be one lap down. He's not going to lap him again, I should say. Iverson's going to fall one lap down. I'm curious to see what the pace is and how long and how fast he can keep the pace up throughout the entire run. I find it hard to believe that Lucas Lyons, even though he's got immense pace, is going to want to stay out this entire run.
I don't think he can. I think their fuel is going to be running out. I don't think their tires will be able to make it. And especially, I mean, you can see the especially on Alex Penn, losing grip there with tires and everything, and their lap times have also slowed down. I don't think his tires can make another 50 laps. I think by the end he'll just be run on rims.
I'll tell you what, Iverson's hoping for no caution, but look at this battling from the midfield from Grenier all the way back to Justin Ray in the 38. That is the battle from 9th all the way to 15th. These guys are all over the racetrack searching for grip, slipping and sliding around, and they've even been making contact with each other here. And Andy Kurtz, also one of the guys second in points, is right in the mix of this thing here and hoping to get some spots here, get some extra points.
Slipping and sliding, making contact. Are you sure it's not raining out there?
Nah, it's just classic short track racing, brother. That's what you love to see, man. Guys slipping, sliding, grip starting to go away, handling starting to go away from these guys. That's what you want to see in a classic short track race. Is Tony Iverson 0.8 of a second faster than the leader, Lucas Lyons.
Wow.
Is it going to be enough? That's 47 laps to go. Do you want to go all the way to the end on tires? Obviously, caution comes out, you're going to be trapped a lap down, but if you could stay out, gain all this track time, it's possible. As here comes Brett Bieber into pit road, and while this is happening, Iverson is turning the laps. He's turning about a second faster a lap. He's gaining a lot of time here, and I know Lyons, he's got immense pace, but I've seen guys make the mistakes of thinking they have so much pace they can stay out so long. I think one of the guys that I noticed in a real situation here at Richmond was last year. Ty Majeski had kind of what Lucas Lyons was doing all night, and led over, I think, 100 laps, and then he stayed out the entire time. Everybody pitted, and he got ran down. So I don't think there's, even though he's got great pace, I don't think you want to pit. Wow, here comes a couple guys now starting to come in. Hensley's in, Penn is in, Kurtz is in, Hawkins is in. Here comes Kostek. A couple guys stay out. If a caution comes out, these guys are all going to be trapped a lap down.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Tony Iverson is already on. Oh no, he hasn't.
He's going to get to second overall here, I guess. once the cycle comes out. It just depends when Lucas Lyons wants to bring it into pit road. I think with Hensley coming in, if you're Lyons, you got to pit within the next 1 or 2 laps.
Right now, with them being a lap down, yeah, if a caution came out, you would definitely kind of be screwed.
And here comes
But
Lyons into pit road. And believe it or not, this will be the first lap that Lucas Lyons has not led all night, as Bobby Hall going to get the lap led and Lyons into pit road. And if he can get out of here without a speeding penalty, I think it's his race to lose as Tony Iverson. Oh, and there's a caution!
Oh no. Oh
and
no.
That's one thing. Lyons is going to have to drive through pit road. He cannot afford to take a pit stop because he's going to go a lap down.
It was Blake Hensley with
Was it Hensley that went around? Well, Lyons needs to make sure because he's going to get lapped. Yeah, and Lyons getting lapped by Bobby Hall Jr. And this race has blown wide open as the dominant car of the day is going to get trapped a lap down.
What unfortunate timing.
Wow. Wow. He'll still be able to get the wave around, I would think. Yeah, Hall's going to bring it down pit lane, so Hensley is now 2 laps down. But even though the 48, honestly, he might get bailed out because of that caution, because he's going to be able to take the wave around, and he hasn't used his tires at all. He might get bailed out of it, but he's going to have to work for it with less than 40 laps to go as Bobby Hall Jr. has taken the lead of this race. Now Cunningham, Grenier, Travis Bieber, Drew Prohl, and as well as, I believe, Dustin Reinstedel is going to be the top 7 here, or top 6 in this race. Tony Iverson, the lucky dog, so he'll be able to get up to the front. But, oh, my goodness, this race has flipped on its head. And Bobby Hall Jr. going to win the race off of pit road, followed by Cunningham, Grenier, Bieber, and then Justin Ray, I should also throw into the mix as well, and Drew Prohl. And I believe Dustin Reinstedel has also brought it down to pit lane as well. So Lyons is going to probably restart in the 9th position, and he's going to really have to work for this one.
Yeah, and let's take a quick look at this replay of kind of what caused this issue, this just absolutely race-changing issue right here.
And remember, he's on fresh tires. The tires are cold. He gets onto the apron.
Yeah.
Apron, and he spins it out there. Just a simple little bit of just a miscalculation.
Putting it back on the track there.
And I think that's what probably sparked the caution they're coming out.
Oh, yeah.
So Hensley, who was having a good run inside the top 5, going to be the cause of the caution. So number 1, he won't get his wave around. And number 2, going to be trapped 2 laps down. How about this? If you're Bobby Hall Jr., you got a really good chance of getting your first win here of the season tonight.
Oh, yeah. Everything just changed for you right then and there.
Yeah, we'll see if Cunningham or Grenier or even Bieber, Ray, Prohl, or Reinstedel, and honestly, can't count out Tony Iverson as well, maybe trying to go back-to-back. He is now on the lead lap, going to be restarting in 8th.
At the moment, I believe the top 10 is Bobby Hall Jr. in first, followed by Daniel D. Cunningham in second. We got Matt Grenier in third, followed by Travis Bieber in fourth. And then Justin Ray, closing our top 5, is going to be in 5th. Then we have Drew Prohl in 6th. Tony Iverson in 7th. Dustin Reinstedel in 8th. Lucas Lyons all the way back in 9th. And then Alex Penn's going to have that second spot, well, behind Lucas Lyons, that 10th spot, I should say, back in.
Yeah, this top 10 really upside down. And now we have 6 cars going to take the wave around here. And that's going to put Lucas Lyons in, going to be restarting 9th, Penn 10th, and Kostek 11th, 12th, Hawkins, Ayrson 13th, Kurtz 14th, Bieber 15th. So 15 cars on the lead lap. And these boys are going to have to catch up quick. And Lucas Lyons, I believe, is going to be on an absolute tear, trying to get up to the field. We know he has the superior car here tonight. Can he do it in under 40 laps? I
was closer to maybe 8 or 10 cars that just had a wave around right there that
are
trying to catch up. You can see him right there behind the pace car behind. I believe the last car in that field is. Ooh, I don't actually know.
Be Anderson here.
24,
Pace
yeah.
car has pulled off, and we're back underway. And look at this. The 94 of Hall gets away. It's a battle for second between Prail and Cunningham. Do they have any answer for the 94? Grenier gets by for second, and now it's a side-by-side battle. Now single file as Cunningham gets in line. Bieber falls into fourth. Travis Bieber, then Ray and Pro. Then Rystettle. Here comes Iverson, Hensley, and Tom Hall. 3 wide behind them. Lap cars mixed up. Oh, and Tony Iverson spins down the front stretch. The last week's winner, the Charlotte winner, into the infield. No caution. And the 24 going to take himself out of the race with less than 35 laps to go. And an unfortunate mistake from last week's winner, Tony Iverson, who is now fallen back to 15th.
Yeah, that's absolutely like disheartening for him there. He was on a real tear there. He was up into, I think, P8. And then I guess he just got loose coming out of turn 4 there and just couldn't hold on and got sent into the infield.
Yes, it is. And now, how about an update on Lucas Lyons? He's gotten up to 8th, but he's kind of stuck in traffic. That car has been in clean air all night and finally has gotten put back in dirty air, and he really hasn't made up all but one spot.
Yeah, he's facing something he hasn't faced all race up until now. Dirty air and traffic.
Traffic, something he hasn't had to deal with as we close up on what's going to be about 30 laps to go. Bobby Hall Jr., the leader, followed by Matt Grenier, then Daniel Cunningham, then Travis Bieber, Justin Ray in the top 5. So far, everybody single file here in line. Does Grenier maybe have anything, as these cars really haven't been up all the way in clean air all night? And now you get all these top 5 cars with clean air. They're starting to turn some really good laps. All up to tire fall off as well. How about this? Prail is going to get down there to the inside of Ray. He'll get that spot.
Yeah, Dustin Reinstedel, Justin Ray, Drew Prohl, Travis Bieber, all of those names really haven't seen up into the top 10. Maybe just peeking in every once in a while, but really haven't kind of been up there up until now with this last caution that really upset basically the entire field.
Caution really was a flip of the field here. And how about this battle for 10th? GT Hawkins, Alex Penn battling, and Hawkins going to get that position away in front of Jason Anderson in the 44 and Andy Kurtz in the 5. And man, what great racing so far. What a twist and turn of events. But how about the 15 of Matt Grenier running down the 94 of Bobby Hall Jr. with 30 laps to go on the board here from the Richmond Raceway? Does Grenier have anything? Can he? It's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to pass him. Hall leads another lap, and how about this? Grenier going to lose a little bit of a couple car lengths there to the 94. Then Cunningham, the top 3, starting to separate themselves. And how about this? Lucas Lyons still struggling behind the 31 of Blake Hensley. Actually gives a bumper to him. Hensley starting to get used up here, and again, lap car was actually the cause of why Lucas Lyons was. Lost the lap there, or lost the lead and got trapped the lap down, and Lyons just can't seem to find a way around him at the moment. As it's still Hall, Grenier, and Cunningham, the top 3, then Travis Bieber and Drew Prohl and the number 80 car. And man, I tell you what, Bobby Hall here, he can't afford to burn up the tires, but I think he might have more pace than the cars that are behind him here, Christian.
Yeah, I mean, this top 10 right here is going to be just absolutely wonderful to see watch, because you have it's essentially like a revert, or what's the word I'm looking? Invert. Thank you. Not a revert. An invert. If you ever watched any type of road racing where they do 2 different type of things, or even I know they do some inverts in short track racing. So
all-star races. Yeah,
in all-star races, I know Sarah does an invert. It just makes the field absolutely incredible as we start to lose connection there with Matt Grenier. But yeah, maybe that could have some issues there with the guys behind him. I know personally, if I'm driving and I see a guy ahead of me having some connection issues, as we are on a simulator, I don't like to pass them because I don't know where they're going to be.
Yeah, you never know with the old netcode issue as well. But Hall is opening up that lead, and I'm noticing here Lucas Lyons. We talked about him leading over 100 laps in this race. Caution comes out. He is struggling with the handling of that 48 car. He is slipping and sliding all around. And again, talking about him not being in the dirty air or in the clean air, and now being thrown into dirty air and deep dirty air as well. He's just struggling with the handling of that car. Right now, Hall starting to pull away a little bit from Grenier. Grenier not letting him really get too far out, but keeping him within a reachable distance if the 94 was to mess up or even burn his tires off. Although the top two have kind of separated themselves away from Cunningham and Bieber. And Bieber's kind of falling back to the clutches of the 80. Tell you what, man, this is getting really, really interesting. We're going to be 20 laps to go. Still a decent way on these tires. These tires are going to go about 40 laps. That's still a decent ways. So we'll see who's going to have the long run card. But I think Bobby Hall, with the clean air, and if he's not pushing his tires too hard, is in the catbird seat. And Prohl going to be right on the bumper of Bieber. And how about this battle? Finally, Lucas Lyons gets underneath the 31 of Blake Hensley, and not even the 11 of Dustin Reinstedel. He's going to fall down a one spot. Lyons moves up to 7th. Oh, Hensley gets the apron again. Here comes Kostek, going to get into him. Big contact there from the 31 and the 8, and the 31 with a little bit of left rear damage. Kostek might have a hole in the nose now, but heavy hit there, is battling there with the 11. If you're Hensley, I think you're a couple laps down. I know he's fighting for the lucky dog. Actually, he's not even going to get it. He's just fighting up here, trying to, I guess, get some testing laps in. But right now, he's affecting the driving of a lot of guys in the top 10. And I don't know about you, Christian. I usually am not too happy when there's a lap car racing a lot of the lead lap cars really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I know everyone's entitled to their own race. You're entitled to kind of defend your position here and there. But if I'm on your bumper or next to your bumper and you're still kind of fighting me hard, giving me the door here and there, yeah, I'm going to be pretty upset. Because at this point, you're costing both of us time, and you're not in the race. I mean, yeah, you're in the race. You're willing to fight your own race, but it's a bit of a respect thing at that point.
It is, and right now Lucas Lyons has moved up to 7th, and right there, believe it or not, Lucas Lyons was the fastest car on the racetrack, but I think he's too far back. He's almost 3 seconds back from Bobby Hall Jr., who has opened up a 0.6 of a second lead and over a second. 1.2 seconds over Cunningham, and the top 3 are starting to separate themselves away from the field. Travis Bieber started to struggle with a little bit of the handling there. He's allowed the 80 Apprail to close up, and then Justin Reyes kind of ran those two down as well. How about the 11 of Dustin Reinstedel? What a great rebound. He hasn't been having a great night. That caution really changed it. Now he's running inside the top 10 here. Big, I guess what you want to say, a big turnaround of a day here for the 11. And right now, just this field's starting to get spread out. And I think that's typical of a Richmond run. We see it a lot, Christian, in the real races where we see the field kind of get spread out. And as tires wear, you'll start seeing some passes, but usually it's all up to the clean air and as well as just who's pushing their stuff less.
Yeah, at the beginning of the races, you're always going to have the closest racing, right? First of all, you're all clustered up. You're all 2x2. You're starting out with that, and then you all have new tires. Same things happen with stage break here, like we just saw, where everyone comes in and then we all re-rack into that 2 grid. You're gonna have the closest, the best racing right there. But the further we go, the more we spread out. You're gonna have passes here and there because people are gonna take different types of strategies, different types of lines, burn their tires out, try to save fuel, save their tires. But you won't have as much, obviously, racing in the beginning.
Yeah, and here, how about the 80 still trying to work the 114 of Travis Bieber over, just kind of stuck in that bubble of air right now. Almost gets to the back bumper of him, has to really back off. You see the loss of downforce to the front end of the 80. Now, little moral of the loss is he gets up into the outside wall, and that's all right there. The aero push effects from being behind the 114. He'll lose about 6 or 7 car lengths, and now the 38 of Justin Ray has closed up to him. And Lucas Lyons, Dustin Reinstedt, all behind these guys as well. And the 48 is sliding around, but man, he's driving the wheels off that thing. And he's still one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. I just don't think he's going to end up with the win here tonight. There's almost 10 laps to go here. What parody of a race we've seen as the clouds kind of starting to come back around the racetrack, cooling off the racetrack, and Lucas Lyons led 100, and oh, he gets into the back bumper of Ray there, and you can see, I think the frustration starting to kick in for Lyons. We know he knows he had the fastest car, but just doesn't have the pace, and right now doesn't have the amount of lap time or the laps, and he's just sliding around. That back end is sliding. It looks like he has a lot more rear brake than most. He is trying to get around Justin Ray, just not going to be enough here as 9 laps to go here from the Richmond Raceway. Bobby Hall Jr., once he got the lead, he seemed like he was the only car that could really touch Lucas Lyons on the short run, but once the long run kicked in, he just pulled away. And how about this for Bobby Hall Jr., who just had the caution fell his way, and right now that Ford Mustang Dark Horse is just starting to set the pace and starting to pull away from Matt Grenier. And this battle all the way back is just kind of staled. It's kind of just stabilized here, and right now I think Bobby Hall is looking pretty primed to win this race.
Yeah, Bobby Hall has half a second lead right now. As long as he can kind of keep those consistent 23 low second times there. I mean, Bobby Hall Jr., his last lap, he did a 23.137. Matt Grenier did a 23.044. That's not a huge difference. That's about a tenth of a second. If they kind of go back and forth on each lap, right here they were just, two tenths off. Yeah, basically 10 even. So I really don't think there's going to be a huge amount of change there, unless one of the other kind of messes up or is able to kind of ramp up their pace.
It really would be. I don't think Bobby Hall is going to want to see a caution here, as we're coming up with 5 laps to go here from Richmond. No mistakes for the 94, and he will be getting his first one of the season, but he's going to have to keep it clean because Matt Grenier is not letting him out of sight. Still about a half a second separating the top 2, and then a second back to Daniel Cunningham in third, and about 2 seconds, or almost 3 seconds, to the 114 of Travis Bieber and Drew Prail in the 80 cars. The 80 puts the bumper to the 114, and the 80 almost gets up into the wall. Justin Ray's going to have a run on him, and this battle for 6 going to rage on. But up at the front, it's Bobby Hall. Once that caution came out, he's kind of set sail, although the 15 just loses the nose in the air. And man, this 94 car, what a race and what a win it's going to be from him, if he can just hold on. Although he's sliding around, running a lot lower than everybody else is on the straightaway. Probably to conserve as much rear tires as he can. 3 laps to go here from Richmond. 1.4 miles left to go in this field in the back. He's hoping that they keep it clean and green for just a couple more laps. Popsicle sticks are going to be up in the air for the 94 Ford Mustang. 2 laps to go from Richmond. Only 40 seconds of racing left. He slides the back tires, but still a half a second lead. Cunningham has kind of chipped away from that lead, but he's still got to get through Grenier to get to Hall, as only a lap and a half to go. What a drive here from Bobby Hall, Christian. I mean, what a drive here these last 50 laps.
Yeah, he's had his ups and downs. He's had his, he was back in third, back in fourth. He was, all over the top 10. And then that caution came out. He was able to grab first, and he's run away with it, just like Lucas Lyons did in the first part of this.
He has 1 lap to go here from Richmond Raceway. What a win for Bobby Hall. This is going to be, he hasn't won a race this year. He had a good car at Charlotte, didn't get the finish he wanted, but today, redemption is what's going to be the name of the game. Bobby Hall Jr. comes off of turn 4 and wins at the Richmond Raceway. Matt Grenier second, Daniel Cunningham comes home third, Travis Bieber holds on to 4th, and Drew Prohl holds on to the 5th position. Bobby Hall starts 20th and leads 44 laps en route to his first win of the season. And how about that here in race number 10 here tonight from Richmond? Relatively clean and green race. That caution that happened in the middle of the pit cycle really just kind of threw this race on its head. But man, what a win.
Yeah, if you're Bobby Hall Jr., you're just absolutely jumping up and down right now. You're so excited. You had this fight the entire time. You were really trying all throughout that first few part of that race, and then finally Blake Hensley unfortunately had a caution, but that was just your key to success tonight, and you were able to then just drive away from it once you got into that clean air.
And Bobby really was a top 5 car ever
Oh
since he got
yeah,
up there with that strategy. And sometimes, you know what they say, it's better to be lucky than good. And honestly, I think Bobby Hall was both of those today. So we know Lucas Lyons had the best car, but once he got back mired in traffic, that was all she wrote. And yeah, Bobby Hall, man, burning it down. What a burnout here in front of the virtual Richmond Raceway fans. And what a win here for Bobby Hall Jr. here at the Richmond Raceway. Stick around for post race interviews where we'll talk to your winner and the top 3 of Matt Grenier, Daniel Cunningham, and winner Bobby Hall. Stick around for post race interviews. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
All right, welcome back live to the Richmond Raceway here after the conclusion of 150 laps with Bobby Hall, the race winner. But before we get to the race winner who's pulling it into victory lane soon, let's pull up third place finisher Daniel Cunningham. We talked to him earlier, but starts third, comes home third. Daniel Cunningham, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, man, you kind of seemed to. We talked to you earlier in the race. You felt pretty good about the long run pace. Kind of fell back a little bit. That caution during the middle of the pit cycle seemed to bail you out, and you come home with the podium place finish, get some points, gain on Michael Kostek. How did you feel to come home here with third place?
Yeah, feels kind of fortunate to get that. I just didn't really have the fire off that a lot of guys had. Kind of made me think of last night in the truck series at Dover. I could kind of keep pace, but it was just so hard to pass. I mean, I know Richmond's always kind of been that way, but I can't really ever recall another time where it's been this difficult to pass. I mean, you had to have a pretty good advantage on somebody to be able to get around them in the air. It was pretty bad. So, Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take third place. Solid night. After the way the season started, things definitely kind of turning around and pointing in the right direction now.
They have, and I'll tell you what though. Do you think? And I want to ask you because of the aero effects on. Do you think it was because of the colder weather that affected the ability to pass, or do you think it was just more of the aerodynamics and the way the setup was?
I think it was a combination of both, and I think that the colder track temps made it worse because when we had that one run where the sun kind of peaked out for a while and the track kind of started warm up a little bit, it seemed like you could move around a little bit more and kind of get some runs on people and make some passes. But then once it went back to overcast, it kind of reminded me of night races here. I mean, as much as I like the night races here, it just seems like the track's a lot more racy in the day when the track heats up.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time. I want to ask you, focus your on the next week, Watkins Glen. How do you feel about attacking that road course and try to get in, maybe back it up with the podium?
That ain't gonna happen. I suck at road courses. I've got good teammates that are really good at road courses that have tried to help me out, and I try to learn everything I can from them. But I don't know. There's just something about the loose nut behind the steering wheel at road courses. It just can't quite figure it out for one reason or another. So just try to do what I can next week and try to keep some kind of momentum going. But yeah, if I said I had very high expectations rolling into Watkins Glen next week, I'd be lying to you.
Well, we appreciate your time, Daniel. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to for the third place finish?
Yeah, appreciate y'all doing the broadcast as always. The admins have put all the work into the series. My teammates over at Bandits and C2 Motorsports. Appreciate all of the sponsors on the car. Got my new gloves today from Abruzzi Racewear, and so first race breaking them in. They're highly recommend. They're pretty awesome. And then as always, go Ducks.
Yes, sir. Sco Ducks, brother. All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. Have a good night. We'll see you next week at Watkins Glen.
Thanks, Alec.
It's Daniel Cunningham, the second place finisher here tonight from Richmond, where Christian is now standing here with second, or was going to be standing with second place finisher Matt Grenier.
Matt Grenier, you finished P2 here after that just absolutely crazy caution that completely upset the field there. And I believe at the 90 lap marker, you started P7. How did your race go, especially with that caution towards the end?
Well, that caution, better to be lucky than good sometimes. That put a lot of people at a disadvantage, and we caught that just right, so that moved us up. And gave me the P2, which is an awesome result the way my season's gone so far. But beginning of the race, it was tough. The fog didn't really seem to agree with me in my driving style. So once that lifted, the track kind of came to me. But I'm sure the others are saying this. It just was so hard to pass, harder than I've experienced here before. It was just kind of take your time and try to keep the tire under you so you can make that pass if you get a chance.
Yeah, it did look like it was pretty hard to pass, especially on the bottom. It was nearly impossible. I kind of related this to, I guess, Bristol, where it's basically impossible to pass on the bottom unless you have a huge tire difference. But yeah, what was your strategy coming into this race, knowing this is now the oldest track in NASCAR, at least, with I think 24 years for this racing service? It's really kind of brutal on the tires. What was your strategy with that, if you had one?
I really just wanted to keep the tire under me. That was going to be my best bet to try to get ahead of anyone. Was not burn them up, especially early. I think there were a couple that may have done that, and that to me made all the difference. Especially on that last run, the top three there seemed to kind of pull away from the pack, and I don't think either of us were really abusing the tire, which kind of allowed us to kind of pull away and keep our advantage up. Obviously, couldn't catch Bobby. He was really good tonight, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you had an exceptional race tonight. You finished P2 in that absolutely gorgeous. I do say I love your paint with that blue and or that purple, I guess, and pink. But on that note, do you have anyone to shout out or give thanks to?
Yeah, just got to thank my parents for tuning in each week. My wife for allowing me to come down here and spend a couple hours away from her, and my baby girl for sleeping through the night so I can get away. And thank my teammates as well on the Flex team and you guys for putting on a great broadcast.
All right, Matt. Well, thank you for coming up, and congratulations again on that P2 finish.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
That's Matt Grenier, the second place finisher here tonight, and gonna move down to victory lane to where our winner, Bobby Hall. Bobby Hall, you got a copy, brother?
Why, yes, indeed.
Well, man, you were able to kind of put a little pressure on Lucas Lyons there that last run. You decided to stay out a couple extra laps. The caution came out for a Blake Hensley spin, and once you got the lead, brother, you kind of just set sail.
Yeah, totally caught off guard on this win. As the back of my bumper says, field filler. Just here to learn the car and learn some laps and try to get more experience under my belt.
Yeah, it seems like you got a lot here tonight.
Yeah, well, that second caution that came out, I decided to pit and take 2 tires. And I'm like, well, might as well try it, see how it does. And I was able to get up to them guys at the end of the stage. And I'm like, okay. Made a brake adjustment and just try to keep the momentum in 1 and 2. It seemed like that's where I made majority of the passes. And talking to Matt on our pit strategy, and we were going to actually pit the next lap after Lucas did. And I just happened to see smoke and seen Blake, and I'm like, Matt, I was like, there's a car on the inside. Hopefully the caution comes out. And it did. And of course, all those guys got caught a lap down, and we just took her easy.
Yeah, you did. And now, with that win, I want to ask you next week. Obviously, you're now locked into the playoffs, I believe, with the win in your end system. So that's a good thing. Next week, now it's up to gathering playoff points and stuff. Road course at Watkins Glen next week. How do you feel about attacking that racetrack? I know completely different from here.
Yeah, definitely. I tried Mid Ohio earlier this season, and it's definitely tough in the Xfinity car versus the truck. There's definitely some heavy hitters that like the road courses. So my goal is just to finish, not get lapped, and not run off the track,
I
and
think
hope for the best.
So it's a good strategy, brother. Well, we appreciate your time, man. Again, congratulations on the win. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to here for tonight's performance?
Sure do. First off, Vspeed for the broadcast. Got the logo on my door and seems to bring me luck when I put it on there. Alex Healy and Dave Farmer for the OiL League. Without them, all these guys wouldn't be putting on a show for everybody watching. The teammates, fortunately, West Weekend wasn't here tonight. Dakota didn't make it tonight. But my cousin Tommy raced. Matt, Craig, which was unfortunate in his mishap early in the race. And Earl Shop and Hall Racing, Flex Motorsports, little team, but we try to have fun.
Hey, there you go. Small team win is what it's all about, man. Well, we appreciate your time, Bobby. Again, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you out next week at Watkins Glen.
Sure do. I'm going to be celebrating tonight. That's for sure.
We appreciate your time. Have a good night.
You too.
And that's Bobby Hall, the race winner here tonight from the Richmond Raceway. Let's take a look at our final results here from race number 10 of the Overtake iRacing League Xfinity Series. Bobby Hall starts 20th and comes home with the win. 4 cautions for 1 lead change. That lead change being Lucas Lyons pitting and Bobby Hall staying out and getting the caution. Other than that, it seemed like it was a little bit harder to pass than normal here at Richmond. And you know what they say, Christian, I don't know if he told you, I'm not a big Richmond Raceway fan. Driving it does have a good show every now and then, but harder to pass a kid, or easier to pass a kidney stone than to pass at Richmond, it seems. But Grenier comes home second. Daniel Cunningham comes home third. Travis Bieber in fourth. Drew Prohl is going to come home fifth. Justin Ray sixth. Lucas Lyons, the dominant car of the day, who just doesn't have the finish to represent the dominance he had, comes home seventh. Dustin Reinstedel comes home eighth. Michael Kostek comes home ninth. And GT Hawkins going to round out the top 10.
Then we got Alex Penn with a kind of an upsetting P11 finish as he was running pretty good there and the first part of the second stage, followed by Jason Ayerson, P12. Then we got Brett Bieber in P13, followed by Andy Kurtz having another upsetting race in P14. Tony Iverson wrecking out midway through the race in P15, followed by Michael Cole in P16. P17 is going to be Blake Hensley, also having an upsetting race, is the one who brought out that caution that caused such an upset in the field in P17. P18 is going to be Tom Hall. P19 is going to be Cody Anderson. P20 is going to be Craig Schroeder, followed quickly by Jim Ott in P21.
And that's going to round out the field here tonight. Man, Christian, what a race we saw again. Bobby Hall Jr. takes advantage of that caution, leads all the laps from there, and then Lucas Lyons' dominance seems to just do such a great job here tonight, man. And just, man, what a race we saw. What great racing, honestly, we saw. I know it looked very hard to pass, but it just seemed to be a little bit of a struggle, obviously, to get by cars. But if you had significant amount of pace, especially when the sun was out, you feel like you were able to kind of control your own destiny.
Yeah, and I do feel for Lucas Lyons there for a little bit. I mean, what an exceptional race he had. He led basically every lap up until that caution. And so I feel a little bit, but I'm super excited for Bobby Hall Jr., Matt Grenier, and Daniel Cunningham, all for their podium wins there. But yeah, you do have to feel a little bit for Lucas Lyons.
Yeah, well, we talk about next week, Watkins Glen road course. We know that's going to be very challenging, and I'm looking forward to if I get to do this again, get to see Watkins Glen, see these drivers attack at road course. It's kind of like the 1.5 miles of road courses. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be fun, but Watkins Glen gonna be a heck of a race, and hope all of you guys tune in. Is the second to last race before the chase and the playoffs begin. And again, winning your in system, Bobby Hall punches his ticket to go and race for a championship. Well, we appreciate all of you guys tuning in, appreciate all of you watching, and again, thank you to all of our subscribers and everybody who has supported us all this way. We finally got to that 1,000 mark, and appreciate everybody who has supported us from the beginning until we are now. And there's a lot more to come. Again, Christian, appreciate you having me up here. Appreciate you doing the production, and thank you guys and everybody at OiL and everybody at Vspeed for having us here tonight. Well, again, congratulations to Bobby Hall. I'm Alec Martinez along with Christian Hill signing off for the night. Take care, and we'll see you guys next week from the Watkins Glen International Raceway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh! Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.